Good morning, all of you. So, today we are going to start chapter 10 of class 10 science, that is light, reflection, and refraction. So, first of all, we understand what is light. Basically, light, it is a form of energy. It enables us to see whatever is there in our surrounding. Means whatever the things we are able to see, it is because of this light energy. About this topic, you people already have learned in class 7th, where you have conducted several experiments or activities related to light. So I wish you are aware of all those things, and if not, just go through your 7th class science book if it is available to you, as it is very resourceful right now. Now, light always moves in a straight line. To understand this thing, a very simple experiment is used to conduct. That we used to take 3 cardboards. This is a very basic experiment which students used to conduct to show that light moves in a straight line. And in these 3 cardboards, we make one hole in each cardboard at same height. The height is same. Now, we keep a burning candle in front of the holes, and when we look at from the another part, from the another end, we will be able to see the candle light as the light rays, they pass through the holes which are in a straight line. But if we disturb any one of the cardboard, if we shift it up or just disturb the position of one of the hole, then we will not be able to see the candle light now, because light is not able to move its direction on its own. It will not move in a zigzag direction, so we will not be able to see the candle flame this time. And this thing is a universal value, that is the speed of light in vacuum, and its value is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. It is denoted by C. So these are the basic things about the light. Now, what is reflection of light? The topics which we are going to study is the first topic is reflection. So what is reflection? Basically, reflection means bouncing back. So here, when the light falls on a highly polished shiny surface, the surface should be highly polished and shiny. The light tends to bounce back or return back in the same medium. This is called reflection of light. Here I have shown it by a simple diagram. For a highly polished shiny surface, we have taken a plane mirror. It just behave like that only. And this light which is coming from any source, it is after striking the mirror, see, its path has changed and it has returned back. It has bounced back in the same medium from where it has come. So this is called reflection of light, that is bouncing back of light through a highly polished surface like a mirror. Now, few terms which we are going to use here. First one is ray of light. A ray of light is just a symbol to show the straight line path of a light. A straight line with an arrow is shown to show the ray of light. When we draw this thing, an arrow, a line with an arrow, it shows the ray of light. So we are going to use this term very frequently in this chapter. Beam of light, it is just a collection of ray of lights. A bunch of rays of light is called a beam of light. So these are the parallel light rays. A collection of parallel light rays is called beam of light. Now, regarding reflection of light, here are few things. Smooth shiny surface from which reflection takes place is called reflecting surface, or we can say the surface with which reflection is going to take place is called reflecting surface. So here in this diagram, this mirror, a straight line and had a shaded area behind, behaves like a reflecting surface or a mirror here. The light rays which struck the reflecting surface is called incident ray. Whatever the light rays are there which are coming from any source, and the light rays which struck the shiny surface or the reflecting surface, all those light rays are called ray of incidence or incident ray. So in this diagram, see, this light ray is coming and striking to the mirror. So it is the ray of incidence, or it is also called incident ray. Now the point on reflecting surface at which the incident ray struck is called point of incidence. This is the point here at which the ray of incidence is striking on the mirror. So this point is called point of incidence. The ray that returns back after reflection is called ray of reflection. See here, after striking the shiny surface, the mirror is the ray of light is reflecting back or bouncing back. So this line or this ray of light is called ray of reflection. Okay, now the next term is normal. A perpendicular drawn at point of incidence is called normal. This is point of incidence on the mirror, and when we draw a perpendicular line on it, so this is a perpendicular line at the mirror at point of incidence. So this line, this ray or this line is called a normal. Now next thing, the angle between the normal and ray of incidence is called angle of incidence. To see this, let us see the diagram again. Here it is. This is the ray of incidence and this is the normal. So the angle between these two lines, the ray of incidence and normal, between these the angle present is called angle of incidence. This is angle I. Same way, the angle between the normal and ray of reflection is called angle of reflection, angle R. Here it is. This is the normal and this is the reflected ray or ray of reflection, and this is the angle between these two. This is called angle of reflection, or we denote it by angle R. Now, after learning these terms, let us see when the reflection takes place, the light follows some rules, and these rules are called laws of reflection. There are two laws of reflection. The first one says that ray of incidence, normal and ray of reflection all lies in the same plane. All the three lines which we have seen, we found them on a same plane. See here, this is the ray of incidence, this is normal, and this is ray of reflection. So all these three lines are present on this plane surface. This is a plain paper and this is a plain surface. So we can get all the three lines, all the three rays on a plane surface. So this is the first law of reflection, that ray of incidence, ray of reflection and normal all lies in the same plane. The second thing, angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. Whatever the surface it is there, angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. So the light rays follow these two rules during reflection. These laws are followed by plane surface as well as spherical surface. These laws are going to be followed by either the plane mirror or the spherical mirror. What are the spherical mirror? We are going to study about them a little bit later. First of all, it is image formed by a plane mirror. The schematic diagram of image formed by plane mirror you already have learned in previous classes. Here I have just given you a glance of that. So this is a plane mirror, okay, and this is the object kept in front of it. Here we have considered that few light rays are emerging from it. First light ray is just perpendicular to the mirror. It is considered to be moving in the same straight path. Either it will return back to the same path, but if we imagine it to grow at back side of the mirror, it will go in a straight line. While the light ray which struck at the middle point of the mirror, it reflect at the same angle. This line is behaving like a normal. So whatever the angle of incidence will be here, at the same angle, this light ray will be reflected. And if we grow it back, these two imaginary line will struck at a certain point, and wherever these two lines are intersecting with each other, the image will form over there only. One thing I want to add here, that not only the two rays are emerging out from the source or the object, there are millions of light rays are emerging at the same time from the object, but for our convenience we are taking any two of them only to show the image formation. So here the image of the object is formed in the plane mirror. Okay, so what are the characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror? Let us see them. First of all, plane mirror is the same one in which you people used to see your faces in the morning hours, okay, while getting ready for school or offices. Parents used to use, whatever it is there. So what are the properties of images which we used to see in the plane mirror? First thing, image formed inside the mirror. Whatever the image is formed, we found it inside the mirror. We cannot get it on any screen. Okay, now image is virtual and erect. First of all, erect means straight. This is the straight image. As the object is standing in front of the mirror, the image is just similar to that. Virtual means which is not real. The lines which we are considering here growing at the back, these are not the real lines. We are just imagining them, that if these lines grow at back, then they strike or they intersect with each other at certain point. So these are imaginary lines. So the image formed here is also imaginary, or which is called virtual. Now, size of image is equal to the size of the object. Whatever the size of the object will be there in front of the mirror, the size of the image will be equal to it. Next thing, distance of image is equal to the distance of the object from the mirror. Whatever the distance of the object is from mirror, suppose if the object is at 6 centimeter distance in front of the mirror, the image will be formed inside the mirror at same distance. Now last thing, image is laterally inverted. Laterally inverted means that the left side of the image appears to be the the left side of the object appears to be the right side of the image, and right side of the object will be appear as left side of the image. This we can easily see this thing in the mirror. Okay, so these are the characteristics of the images formed by a plane mirror. Let us see what are spherical mirrors. So these are the mirrors whose reflecting surface is a part of a sphere, either curved inward or outward, are called spherical mirror. See here, if we consider it as a complete sphere, and we polish its outer surface, if we polish it or paint it black and silver, then if we cut its part, this inside curved surface will be the reflecting work, and the outside is the shaded part. So this reflecting surface which is curved inward is called concave mirror. And here also, if we consider it as a whole sphere, and if its internal surface is painted silver and then black, the outer surface will be the reflecting surface. If we cut its part, the outer surface will be the reflecting, the shiny one, and this bulged out reflecting surface like a structure is called convex mirror. So we are going to have two types of mirror here, the spherical mirror, in which the one reflecting surface is curved inward like a cave, and this cave like structure, when we are going to see, it will be considered as concave mirror. Okay, now, and the second one is convex mirror, whose reflecting surface is bulged out. So about these two mirrors we are going to study in detail now, how the images are going to form here. See here, if a parallel light beam falls on the concave mirror, it after the reflection. Here one thing I have tried to show you, all the incident rays I have shown with green color, and all the reflected concern rays are shown by the red color. So see here, if the parallel light beams fall on a concave mirror, they tends to meet at a common point after reflection. See, this is the incident ray which is reflecting here, and this is also a incident ray which is reflecting in this way, and both the reflecting light rays are intersecting here, or we can say that they are meeting at a certain point. So the mirrors which tends to converge all the parallel light beam at a same point, those concave mirrors are also called converging mirror, or we can say that concave mirrors are the converging mirror. What about the case of convex mirror? In convex mirror, what happened, that the parallel light ray after the reflection, they diverge in different directions. Here this is the incident ray, and it is moving in another direction. They are spreading out. Here also the light ray which is coming, it is the incident ray, and it is spread outside. So they are not meeting directly or really in at any point. But if we imagine them to grow at back, we find that they appears to come from a point. So they are not really meeting at this point. They are just we are just imagining them that they are arising from this point. In reality, the mirror has spread all the light rays. So such type of mirror, or we can say that convex mirror, is also called diverging mirror, as it spread all the light rays which struck to it. Now there are few basic terms related to spherical mirror. Let us see them one by one, and I will show them in a diagram also. The first one is the aperture. Aperture, it is the width of the reflecting surface. Here this OQ, this shows the aperture or the reflecting surface. Pole, it is the geometrical center point of the reflecting spherical surface, or we can say the aperture. So geometrical central point, this is our reflecting surface, and this is its geometrical central point. It is considered to be as pole, which is written as P. Now center of curvature, the center of the hollow glass sphere of which the spherical mirror is a part is called center of curvature. Right now we have seen that spherical mirrors we cut out from the a hollow glass sphere. So if in this diagram, if we consider it to be a big sphere, and then sphere will be having a center. So this center of that sphere, glass sphere, will be considered as center of curvature. So it is the center of that glass sphere. It is written as capital C. Radius of curvature, it is the distance between the center of curvature and pole, or it is also called the radius of the hollow glass sphere, and it is written as capital R. So what is this basically? It is the distance between the center of curvature and the pole of the mirror. This distance is called radius of the curvature, or we can say that it is also the radius of this hollow glass sphere. This distance, because it is the center, and the distance from the center to periphery is also called the radius. So it is also equal to the radius of the sphere. It is called radius of curvature, and it is denoted by capital R. Now principal axis, line joining the pole and the center of curvature of the spherical mirror is called principal axis. Sorry. So here is the center of curvature and the pole. The straight line which join these 2 points is called the principal axis. So now the next thing is focus point after the principal axis. So focus point, it is a point on the principal axis, means it is a point which lies on the principal axis where all the parallel light rays meet after the reflection or appear to emerge from that point after the reflection. This point is called principal focus. In some cases, principal focus is real, where all the parallel light rays they converge at one point on principal axis, and that point is called focus point. But in some cases the rays are going to be diverged, as I have told you here. In this case, see that the light rays are really converging at one point, and this point where all the reflected light rays are converging, this is the focus point. Okay, but in some cases, like in convex mirror, the reflected light rays diverge, but when they are grown backward, they appear to emerge from a point which is present on the principal axis. In this case also, this imaginary point is also considered as focus point. So this is also focus point, this is real focus point, and this is imaginary focus point, but both of them lies on the principal axis. This principal focus is denoted by capital F. Now, focal length. Focal length is the distance between the pole and the focus point, and it is denoted by small f. See here in the diagram the distance between the pole and focal point. This distance is called focal length, and it is denoted by small f. So there is a relation between the radius of curvature and focal length. There is a relation between them. The relation is like r equals to 2f. R, this radius of curvature is double of focal length, or we can say that focal length is half of radius of curvature. Whatever the total curvature is there, the focal length will be its half. For an example, if we say that that the radius of curvature of any spherical mirror is 10 centimeter, then its focal length will be C by 2, or we can say that R by 2, and that is 10 upon 2, that will be 5 centimeter. So the focal length of that mirror will be 5 centimeter. Okay, now next thing, distance of the object is denoted by small u. The distance of the object from the mirror is denoted by small u, and the distance of the image from the mirror is denoted by small v. All these things we are going to use later on. Now, image formation by spherical mirrors. As we have seen that we are having two types of spherical mirror, concave mirror and convex mirror. So how the image is formed over there, we are going to see that. Now, one thing I have already mentioned, that every object, it behaves like a source of light, and from that source of light, millions of light rays keeps on emerging out. But to understand the thing in a better way, we used to consider 2 or 3 light rays by which we show the formation of image. So here I am showing you that 4 light rays, how they are going to reflect after striking the mirror, and then we will use any 2 of them to show the image formation. So here I am just explaining how any particular light ray turns or bounce back after the reflection. So here I am showing what happens when a light ray is struck with a concave mirror, and by the parallel I am showing how the same light ray is going to behave when it is struck with a convex mirror. So see, first thing, first case I have taken when incident ray is parallel to principal axis. Again I am reminding one thing to you, that I have shown the incident ray with green line and the reflected ray with red line, and if any imaginary line is there, I have shown it with blue line. Okay, blue dotted line. So keep this thing in mind. So what is the first line? If some light ray is parallel to principal axis, it always pass through the principal focus. In case of concave mirror, if any light ray is parallel to principal axis, after reflection it passes through the principal focus. This thing is shown here. What about the convex mirror? In case of convex mirror, see this line, this light ray, this incident light ray is parallel to principal axis, but as we know that convex mirror used to diverge the light ray. So see, the reflected ray has diverged. But if we grow this diverged reflected ray back, then it passes through the principal focus. One thing I want to add here, whatever the focal length and curvature is in one side of the mirror, it will be equal to the another side of the mirror also. Like if it is 3 centimeter focal. Now the fifth case. So we have brought the object more closer. Now earlier it was between C and F, now it is at focus point. So we have kept the object as at focus point. Now the first light ray, again it is parallel to principal axis, and after reflection it is passing through the principal focus. Okay. Now the second light ray which we are considering at this case is that one which struck to the pole. And what was the condition there? At the same angle, whatever the angle here, whatever the angle of incidence here, at the same angle the light ray is going to reflect back. So at the same angle, suppose if it is the angle of 45 degree, so at 45 degree also the reflected ray will pass back. In such case, you can see that both the reflected rays are parallel to each other. They are not intersecting each other, so they will reach at infinity. They will keep on moving, and at infinity they will reach. So what information do we get here? The object is placed at focus point. Here is our object, and the image will form at infinity because both the reflected rays are parallel to each other. They will form. Reach at infinity. The size, as you can see that as they will travel farther and farther, they will move away from the principal axis. So the size of the image is going to be very, very large, and it becomes blurred. The image is not going to be clear or brighter one. A blurred image will be formed. But nothing we are imagining here. All the things are real. So the image is going to be real. We can get it on the screen, and this image, as it is real, it is going to be inverted. And again the image is forming at the same side of the object. Okay, now this is the last case where we are putting the object between focus point and pole. See here, in the earlier case the object was at focus point, but now we are putting it between the focus point and the pole. Here is our object. So let us see how the image will be formed here. Again the first light ray which we are considering is parallel to principal axis, this, and after reflection it will pass through the back on the same path. It is shown here also. And the last case, if the incident ray fall at the pole, making a certain angle with normal, which is called angle of incidence, then it will return back in that the same direction, but and also make the same angle. Means angle I will be equal to angle R. Angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. Means it will return back at the same angle. See here also in convex mirror it is also the same. When the incident light ray is striking at the pole at a particular angle, it reflects back with the same angle. So these are the 4 rays which I have shown you here, how they are going to reflect back after the reflection from the mirror. So now the next topic is the image formation by concave. First of all, we are considering concave mirror. So to consider these things or to see the image formation by concave mirror, we are going to use any 2 of these 4 lines. Either we will consider these 2 or these 2 or these 2 or any of these 2 rays we are going to consider out of these 4 to show the image formation. So what is the first case we are considering here? That suppose the object is placed at infinity. Infinity means it is very, very far away from us. Just like for example we can say sun. Sun is at infinity, very far distance it is there. So the one thing it is there कि if something is at infinity, we consider that all the light rays coming from that object will be parallel. Okay, they will be parallel. So we are considering here कि some object is at infinity and the light rays which are coming from infinity are parallel to the principal axis. All these light rays are parallel to the principal axis, and after the reflection we know that concave mirror has tendency that all the light rays which are parallel, they merge at a certain point, and then that point is the focus point. So see here, all the incident ray after reflection they are passing through the focus, and see students, wherever the reflected rays intersect each other, at that point the image is formed. So in this case the image is formed at focus. This thing you have to keep in mind, where all the reflected rays, mind that all the reflected rays intersect each other, at that point the image is formed. So in this case the reflected rays are intersecting at focus, so the image will be formed at focus point. Now what will be the size of image? You can see easily, only a dot I have made. This dot is showing the image size. So we will say that the size of image is point size. Only a point size image will be formed here. What will be the nature of the image? So in this case all the light rays really they are meeting at a point. So the image is really forming here. So the nature of the image will be real, and we know that real image are inverted. This thing you have learned in previous classes, that real images are always inverted and we can get them on a screen. And this image is formed on the same side of the object. Here is the object, and at the same side of the mirror the image is always also forming. And if we keep a screen here at focus, we will get the image of that object on the screen. That is why it is said that the image is real. We can get it on the screen, and when you see the image it will be found inverted. Okay, so this is about the first case, how the image is formed from concave mirror when the object is placed at infinity. The image will form at focus. It will be point size image, means very negligible or very small image is going to be formed. The nature of the image is going to be real and inverted, means the image is real and we can get it on the screen, and inverted means upside down. And the image is formed at the same side of the object. Object is also in front of the mirror and the image is also formed in front of the mirror. Now the second case. This is the second case. Now we are moving the object closer to the mirror. In the first case the object was at infinity, but now we have shifted the object closer to the mirror. It is just behind the center of curvature. See here, this is our concave mirror. This is its focus point. This line is principal axis. This is curvature, and this is focus point. So where we have kept the object, this time we are putting the object at back of the curvature. Now to show the image formation, I have taken two light rays. As I have told you earlier, to show the image formation we only consider two light rays. By that only we are going to show the image formation. So first line, see here, it is parallel to principal axis. This incident light ray is parallel to principal axis, and I told you such light rays after reflection pass through the principal focus. See here, this incident light ray pass through the principal focus after reflection, this here. And the second light ray here I am taking, which is passing through the principal focus, and we know such light rays after reflection they become parallel to principal axis. So here I have taken these two incident light rays which after reflection, see here where they are intersecting, both these reflected light rays intersect here. So at this point the image will form. See where they are intersecting, the image of this point is forming here. Okay, so we can say that the image, this is the object which is standing straight. but the image which is formed here is upside down or inverted. So what information do we get from this diagram? First of all, that the object is placed behind the center of curvature. Object is placed behind the center of curvature. Now where is the image formed? Image is formed between the curvature and the focus point. See here, curvature and focus point. The image is formed between these two points. Now size of the image is smaller than the object. If you compare both the sizes of object and image, you will see that the size of the image is comparatively smaller than the object. Now what is the nature of image? Here also the light rays are really meeting. They are intersecting really. So the image is going to be real. And real image we can get on the screen also, and see the image is inverted. Real images are always inverted, upside down. And again the image is formed at the same side of the object. The object is also in front of the mirror. The image is also forming in front of the mirror. So this is the second case. Now the third case. Now we have brought the object more close to the mirror. In first case the object was at infinity. In second case it was just behind the curvature. Now in third case we are putting the object at curvature itself. Okay, so this is our object. And again those two lines we are considering. The first one which is parallel to principal axis, and after reflection it is passing through the principal focus. Okay, this is the incident ray and this is the reflected ray. And the second line which we are considering, it is passing through the principal focus, and after reflection it becomes parallel to the principal axis. Okay, now after the reflection both the reflected rays are intersecting here. Now at this point the upper part's image will be there, and in this way the image is formed here. So what information do we get? Now object is at curvature. See, object we have placed at curvature, and by the diagram we get that image is also forming at curvature itself. Okay, now size, you can compare that both the things, the object as well as the image, are of same size. So the image size is equal to the object. And again the light rays are really intersecting. The reflected light rays are really intersecting with each other, means the real image is formed. We can get it on the screen. And also we get to know that the image is inverted. Real images are always inverted. And again the image is formed on the same side of the object, where the object is kept in front of the mirror. The image is also formed in the front of the mirror. So this is the third case. Now the fourth case. Now we have bring the object more closer to the mirror. So now the position of the object is between C and F. This is our object standing straight in front of the mirror. So what happened, that again the first line which we are taking, it is parallel to the principal axis, and after the reflection it is passing through the principal focus. Okay, and the next light ray which we take is which pass through the principal focus, and after reflection it becomes parallel to the principal axis. Now both the light rays after reflection they are intersecting here. So the image is going to be formed here. This is the image of the object. So let us see what information do we get. We see that the object is placed between C and F. Here the object is formed between curvature and focal point. See here the image is formed behind the C in this case. Object is coming closer and the images are getting back. So the image is formed behind the curvature here. If we see the size, you can easily get to know that in this case the image of the object is larger than the object. Nature again, really they are intersecting with each other, so the image is real. We can get this image on a screen, and real images are always inverted, so an inverted image we are getting. And the same thing is there, that the image is formed at the same side of the object. Object is in front of mirror and the image is also in front of the mirror. Now the fifth case. So we have brought the object more closer. Now earlier it was between C and F, now it is at focus point. So we have kept the object as at focus point. Now the first light ray, again it is parallel to principal axis, and after reflection it is passing through the principal focus. Okay, now the second light ray which we are considering at this case is that one which struck to the pole. And what was the condition there? At the same angle, whatever the angle here, whatever the angle of incidence here, at the same angle the light ray is going to reflect back. So at the same angle, suppose if it is the angle of 45 degree, so at 45 degree also the reflected ray will pass back. In such case, you can see that both the reflected rays are parallel to each other. They are not intersecting each other, so they will reach at infinity. They will keep on moving, and at infinity they will reach. So what information do we get here? The object is placed at focus point. Here is our object, and the image will form at infinity because both the reflected rays are parallel to each other. They will form. Reach at infinity. The size, as you can see that as they will travel farther and farther, they will move away from the principal axis. So the size of the image is going to be very large, and it becomes blurred. The image is not going to be clear or brighter one. A blurred image will be formed. But nothing we are imagining here. All the things are real. So the image is going to be real. We can get it on the screen, and this image, as it is real, it is going to be inverted. And again the image is forming at the same side of the object. Okay, now this is the last case where we are putting the object between focus point and pole. See here, in the earlier case the object was at focus point, but now we are putting it between the focus point and the pole. Here is our object. So let us see how the image will be formed here. Again the first light ray which we are considering is parallel to principal axis, this, and after reflection it will pass through the principal focus. And the second light ray which we have considered is which is striking at pole. Whatever the angle is there, at the same angle the reflected ray will move. Okay, so in this case you can see that both the light rays after reflection, they are spreading away. So they are moving far from each other. Neither they are parallel nor they are intersecting. So what will happen? In reality, it is not going to be formed. No image is going to form in reality. What happens here, that if we imagine that these light rays are grown at back, that time these imaginary line intersect each other at this point. So the image of this point is going to be formed here, and in this way the image is formed behind the mirror, or we can say inside the mirror. Now this image which is formed inside the mirror, we cannot get it on the screen. We cannot get this image on the screen. It will be there inside the mirror. As we say see our face in the plane mirror, inside the mirror our image is formed. And the same way in this case the image is going to be formed inside the mirror. So what information do we get? That the position of the object is between F and P. Here between F and P the object is placed. Image on the other side, or we can say behind the mirror. Behind the mirror somewhere the image will form. The size, you can compare the size of the image. It is much larger than the object. And nature, not real, it is virtual. We are imagining this to happen. So virtual images formed, and virtual images are always erect. They are straight, erect, just like the object. In this way we have seen total over and all 6 cases we have seen, and among these 6 cases, in 5 cases real images are formed which are inverted, and we can get them on screen, and the last case a virtual image we get which is present inside the mirror only. Okay, so here I have tabulated all the informations which we have seen through the diagrams. See, as the object is coming closer to the mirror, the image is moving away from the mirror. Okay, so in first case we have seen the object was at infinity, the image was formed at focus, the size of the image was point size, the nature was real and inverted. In second case, we have seen that the object was kept behind the curvature. Image was formed between curvature and focus point. Size of the image was smaller than the object and the nature was real and inverted. When we place the object at curvature, the image also formed at curvature and the size of the image was equal to the object. In this case also the image was real and inverted. In fourth case, we have seen if the object was placed between curvature and focus, the image will form behind the curvature, it will be larger than the object and the image is real and inverted. And when the object was at focus point, the image is formed at infinity. It is very large and blurred, but still it is real and inverted. And in the last case, when the object is placed between focus point and pole, the image will be formed behind the mirror somewhere. The image is going to be very large and the image is virtual and erect. So this thing also I have mentioned here. As the object comes closer to the mirror, the image moves away from the mirror. So all these things I have explained you here. Yes. So now by far we have seen the image formation by concave mirror. Now for convex mirror, there are two situations only. In the concave mirror, we have seen 6 conditions where object can be placed at different positions and there is difference in the image formation in each case. But for convex mirror, there are only 2 cases. One, when the object is placed at infinity. And I have told you that when object is at infinity, all the light rays coming from it are parallel to principal axis. So here I have shown that thing again, that this is the principal axis and all these green lines which are shown over here are the incident rays. And after striking the convex mirror, as it has tendency to diverge the light rays, see the red light rays which are reflected rays are diverging. But when we imagine them to grow back, they appear to meet at focus. They are arising, or we can say that they are meeting or arising from the focus point. So imagining we are doing here, and here the image of the object will be formed. So what information do we get here? That the object is at infinity, the image is formed at focus behind the mirror. The focus of the convex mirror is at back side, okay, behind the mirror. So here the image will form. The size of the image is point size. See here all the light rays are converging, that appear to meet here, and the image form is in form of a point. Nature, the image is virtual and erect. Virtual means this is not a real image, the light rays are not really meeting. We are just considering them that if they grow at backside, they appear to meet here. That is why it is an virtual image, means which is not real. And virtual images are always erect. As the object is straight, the image will also in this way only. Such an image is called erect image. And we have already told that the image is formed behind the mirror, or we can say inside the mirror we will see the image. It cannot be obtained on screen. And the second case, when the object is placed anywhere between infinity and pole. So we can place it anywhere, wherever you wish, the result will be the same only. So suppose I have put the object here without considering where is the position. So I have just put the object here, and the first ray which is parallel to principal axis, and after reflection, this is the reflected ray, and if we grow it back, it will appear to pass through the focus, okay. And the second light ray which I have taken here is it is that much diagonal that if we grow it back, it pass through that the center of curvature, and I told you such rays return back on the same path. That's why I have shown it with a green arrow for incident ray, and on the same line I have shown the red arrow to show the reflected ray. So these two imaginary lines are intersecting here. So image will form at this point between P and F, between pole and the focus of the convex mirror. Every time, wherever you will put the object, always the image will form here only, between the P and F only. Not exactly here, but between P and F the image will form. So I have written these things here. Object is between infinity and pole. The image will form always between pole and focus point. Behind the mirror, size of the image will always be smaller than the object. Always the image will be formed will be of a smaller size than the object. And the nature, again, these are not the real lines. Yeah, these are not the real light rays. These are imaginary lines. So the image formed is virtual, and virtual images are always erect. We cannot get them on the screen. Now, uses of concave mirror. Concave mirror, where they are used, so I have mentioned them here. Commonly these are used in torches, searchlight and vehicle headlights to get powerful parallel beam of light. In this case, the bulb is considered to be an object, and it is placed at the focus of concave mirror, because we have seen, we have shown this thing that when the object is placed at focus, the reflected rays are parallel to each other. In this way, we get a parallel light beam. Okay, that is why the concave mirrors are used here. They are often used as shaving mirror to see large image of face. At parlors or that hair salon, whatever the mirror is used, your image is much bigger. So in that case also the concave mirror is used. The person sitting at the front of the mirror is between F and P. The last case, remember the last case of concave mirror, where the image was formed was much bigger, and it was formed inside the mirror. This is the condition. The person is the object here, which is sitting between the focus and pole of the mirror. That is why its image is formed inside the mirror, and it is much bigger than the person. The same argument is here. A dentist use concave mirror to see large image of patient's teeth, to see the cavities and all. And the last thing, large concave mirror are used to concentrate sunlight to produce heat in solar furnaces. Remember the first case, when the object is at infinity, all the light rays converge at a common point. So the same thing here, as the sun is at infinity, its all heat converge at focus of the mirror, which produce very high temperature in solar furnaces. So these are the uses of concave mirror. Now what is the use of convex mirror? Convex mirror are used as rear view wing mirror in our vehicles. In our vehicles, you know, in both the sides, two wing mirrors are placed. Those are convex mirror. They enable the driver to see the traffic coming behind them. We can easily see what traffic is coming behind us through these convex mirror. As they cover a larger area, as the surface or the reflecting surface is bulged out, it covers larger area, and it gives an erect, straight image as well as diminished, a small size image of a large object or large area we can see in the convex mirror. So this is the use of convex mirror. Now this part which I am going to explain now, the sign convention of spherical mirror, this part is going to be used to solve the numerical problems. So see this thing carefully. We use certain sign and symbols, or we can say positive and negative terms are used. So which values are going to be taken as positive and which values are going to be negative, I am explaining here. So system prevailed is called new Cartesian sign convention. The sign convention for spherical mirror is known as new Cartesian sign convention. For this, the pole is taken as the origin. Here I have shown with the diagram, this is the pole. So it will be considered as O, the origin point. The principal axis of the mirror is taken as x-axis. This principal axis is considered as x-axis. Vertical drawn at origin or the aperture kept over there is taken as y-axis. This is the mirror which is kept perpendicular to the pole. It will be behaving like the y-axis. This is y and this is y dash. Now what sign we are going to use. Let us see this thing. The object is always considered to be placed at left side of the mirror. While solving the numericals, we considered that the object is always placed at the left side. This is the left side of the mirror and this is the right side of the mirror. Students, remember this thing. These sign conventions are for both kind of mirrors, either the convex mirror or the concave mirror. Okay, so there will be no difference for both of them. The sign will be same. So the object is always kept at the left side. All distances parallel to principal axis are measured from the pole of the mirror. Whatever the distance we are going to measure, if it is the distance of the object, we will calculate it from the pole only. Okay, so from here to here the distance will be measured, and if the distance is at right side, then also it will be measured from the pole. So pole is the first point from where the distance will be measured on either of the sides. Now, all distance measured to the right side of the origin along the x-axis are taken as positive. Whatever the distance, but obviously whatever the distance we will get here will be the distance of image, because already I have told you that the object is kept at the left side. So on the right side, what else we can get? That will be the image only. So if the image is formed at right side, its distance from the mirror will be considered as positive. The distance in the right side will always consider to be positive. Okay. Now, all the distances measured to the left side, for example, distance of the object, are taken as negative. If something is placed at the left side, suppose in every case the object is going to be kept in the left side, so the distance of the object from the mirror will always be in negative. Okay, if we say that the object is kept at 10 centimeter from the mirror, so the value of 10 will be minus 10 centimeter. Okay, and if in most of the cases of concave mirror we have seen the images are formed here only, so the distance of the image will also be negative in that case. Now, distance measured perpendicular to and above the principal axis are taken as positive. If we are taking the distance above the principal axis, or we can say it as the height, if we are considering any height which is upside of the principal axis, the height will always be positive. So we know that whenever we keep the object, it is above the principal axis. So the height of the object is always positive. In the same way, if the distance measured perpendicular to and below the principal axis, and below it, such distance or the height will be taken as negative. So we can assume, we can consider this thing that the height of the object is always going to be positive. And one more thing, that virtual images, which we said previously that they always found erect as the object, so their height is going to be positive. But the real images which formed inverted, so the real images, the height of the real image will always be negative. Okay, this thing, all these points are considered to be as Cartesian sign theory. Now the mirror formula. What is mirror formula? It is the relationship between the distance of the object, that is a small u, distance of the image, that is a small v, and focal length, that is a small f of a mirror, is given by mirror formula. So this is the mirror formula. It is 1 by f, means 1 of the focal length, equals to 1 upon v plus 1 upon u. This is the focal length, this is the distance of the image, and this is the distance of the object. While solving the numerical, sign convention should be kept in mind. Whenever we are putting the values, we have to put the sign also. Suppose if the focal length of any mirror is at left side, so minus sign will be there with its value. If the image is formed here in this side, that left side, then its value will be negative also. Object is always kept in left, so its value is going to be negative also. If the image is formed at the back side of the image, or mirror, or we can say that at the right side of the mirror, then its distance will be in positive. So this thing will be more clear to you when we will solve the numericals. Now magnification. Magnification is basically the ratio of the height of the image, that is h dash, with the height of the object, that is h, to show whether the image is shorter than the object, equal to the object, or bigger than the object. This is called magnification. And this is the formula of magnification. N equals to h dash upon h equals to minus v upon u. And again, v is the distance of the image and u is the distance of the object. So what things we will get to know if the magnification is lesser than 1. Lesser than 1, then 1 means it can be 0.1, 0.2, 0.9, whatever. The value lesser than 1, if it is there, means the image is smaller than the object. If the magnification is equal to 1, it means the image is equal to the object. The height of the or the size of the image is equal to the object. And if magnification is larger than 1, it means the image is bigger than the object. A positive sign always shows that image is virtual. If for the magnification or the height of the image, if it is positive, it means the image is virtual and erect. And if we get a negative sign after solving the numerical, it means the image is real and inverted.